This is CNN Breaking News.
We're following a lot of breaking news on the Trump-Ukraine scandal tonight. The Wall Street Journal reports that the president ordered the removal of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine after months of complaints from his allies, including his personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani reportedly felt the ambassador was obstructing his efforts to get Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden. This, as the former U.S. envoy to Ukraine reportedly told House investigators that he warned Giuliani he was getting bad information about Biden and his son. The Washington Post reports Kurt Volker also told Ukrainian officials they'd be seen as interfering in the U.S. election if they investigated Biden. Tonight, President Trump is taking his push for a Biden probe even further, publicly urging China, as well as Ukraine, to look into his potential 2020 opponent. This hour, I'll talk with a Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jimmy Gomez, and our correspondents and analysts are also standing by. First, though, let's go to our chief White House correspondent, Jim Acosta. Jim, a new report is underscoring Rudy Giuliani's influence over President Trump and their push to investigate Joe Biden.
Oh, that's right, Wolf. The Wall Street Journal is reporting President Trump recalled the former ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, because she wouldn't play ball with his effort to dig up dirt on former Vice President Joe Biden. The president was asked why the ambassador was recalled earlier today, talking to reporters, but he danced around that question and did not give a straight answer. We should point out, in just the last few moments, CNN's Michael Warren, one of our colleagues, was on the phone with Rudy Giuliani and has confirmed some of the details in that Wall Street Journal report. But, Wolf, that was not the most remarkable moment here at the White House today, as the president, as you said, publicly called for foreign interference in the 2020 election, asking China, a U.S. adversary, to investigate Biden. Unlike his conversation with Ukraine's president, no call transcript was necessary today, as the president said the quiet part out loud.
In what is fast becoming a game of chicken, with House Democrats threatening impeachment, President Trump is calling on a U.S. adversary, China, to interfere in the 2020 election by investigating his unproven conspiracy theory about former Vice President Joe Biden's son Hunter's business activities overseas. The president issued his plea after admitting he wanted the same out of Ukraine.
They should investigate the Bidens. China should start an investigation into the Bidens. Because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
Biden's campaign immediately pounced, comparing Mr. Trump's statement to the one he made in 2016 when he asked Russia to dig up dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
At a campaign event overnight, Biden accused the president of acting out of fear.
He did it because, like every bully in history, he's afraid. He's afraid of just how badly he may be beaten in November.
The president is counting on Republicans to remain loyal, pointing to his latest poll numbers and fundraising figures in a tweet, and thanking the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell for his support. McConnell would play a pivotal role in a Senate trial of the president if Mr. Trump is impeached in the House.
He read my phone call with the president of Ukraine, Mitch McConnell. He said, that was the most innocent phone call that I've read. I mean, give me a break.
And the plot is thickening after the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, admitted to the Washington Post he has discussed his unproven Biden claims with an attorney for former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, who is in prison. Contrast that with Vice President Mike Pence, who is trying to keep his distance from the Ukraine investigation.
It is great to be in Arizona.
Sources tell CNN to expect the vice president to spend much of his time over the coming weeks on the road, as his aides worry about the Ukraine fallout back in Washington, with questions swirling about what Pence knew and when he's latched on to Mr. Trump's allegations.
There are legitimate questions that ought to be asked, and we're going to continue to ask them, since the American people have a right to know whether or not the vice president of the United States or his family profited from his position.
The president is amping up his accusations on social media.
Look at this photograph.
Tweeting out a video slamming the Bidens featuring music from the rock group Nickelback, only to be shut down by Twitter after the band complained that was a copyright violation. The president is grumbling about the prospect of being impeached even at official White House events.
That's why they do the impeachment crap, because they know they can't beat us fairly. That's the only reason they're doing it. They can't win.
That's not swaying the growing number of Democrats coming out publicly to state the impeachment inquiry must continue.
We have no choice now but to proceed with an impeachment inquiry, and the only person that the president has to blame is himself.
Now, another key sign the administration is gearing up for an impeachment battle. The Justice Department has instructed White House employees to preserve documents and emails that may have to be turned over to House Democrats as part of their inquiry. It's become more difficult, by the way, for the White House and its defenders to accuse the whistleblower complaint that started all of this of relying upon hearsay to accuse the president of asking a foreign government to interfere in the upcoming election, as Mr. Trump did that out loud today. Wolf.
Certainly did. All right, Jim Acosta at the White House. Thank you. And now to the first witness to appear before Congress in the impeachment investigation. Our congressional correspondent, Sunlen Serfati, is up on Capitol Hill. Sunlen, what are you learning, first of all, about the deposition of the former U.S. envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker?
Well, Wolf, Kurt Volker is behind closed doors telling lawmakers about warning flags that he was giving to President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. The Washington Post reporting this evening that Volker said that he told Giuliani he was receiving untrustworthy information from the Ukrainians about Joe Biden, about his son Hunter Biden. And he essentially said to Giuliani, do not trust these sources. You should be careful about putting faith in those accounts. And this certainly keeps in line with what we're hearing from a source familiar with Volker's thinking going into this deposition this morning, when he said that he was essentially trying to get the Biden-Giuliani issue off the table. Now, this has been a very, very lengthy day on Capitol Hill. Volker arrived here a little after 9:30 this morning, so now it is entering in the 8-hour mark of this testimony. Wolf.
Sunlen Serfati up on Capitol Hill. I know we're going to get more information coming out. Thank you very much. In the meantime, I want to bring in Congressman Jimmy Gomez, a Democrat who serves on the Oversight Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We certainly have a lot to discuss right now. Let me start with this report from the Wall Street Journal that President Trump ordered the removal of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine after she was targeted in a smear campaign by Rudy Giuliani. What concerns does that raise?
It raises a lot of concerns. It raises that anybody who doesn't agree with this president, anybody that doesn't follow along to try to make sure that they can get dirt on a political rival is going to be removed. And he has sent a message to everybody: do not cooperate with Congress, because if you do, then we're going to remove you.
The former Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch, a career Foreign Service officer, a career diplomat, will appear before your committee. We're talking about the Oversight Committee, along with the Intelligence and Foreign Affairs Committees next week. What do you want to ask her?
We want to really find out who was pressuring her, what questions were asked. Did anybody try to get information that was made up? Did she explicitly tell the presidents at the White House that the information they were looking for did not exist or was completely false? We really want to see what kind of interactions we had, and was there undue pressure on her just to make things up in order to comply with the president's request.
You also serve on the Ways and Means Committee, and as you know, the Washington Post is now reporting that a career IRS official, a whistleblower, was told that at least one Treasury Department political appointee tried to interfere with the IRS audits of either the president or the vice president's tax returns. Do you know the specifics, first of all, of that complaint?
I do not. I haven't seen the complaint.
Do you want this complaint to be made public? Because as you know, there are privacy laws when it comes to tax returns.
Yeah, I want to first consult with the chairman of the committee as well as the rest of the committee to determine that. But I want to kind of make a few points when it comes to this whistleblower complaint. It really adds credibility to our request of the presidential tax returns. And the reason why is that from the very beginning, we wanted to audit, we wanted to make sure that the presidential audits were done in a way that was free of political pressure, and it was done in a way that really was true to its core. And that's why we started looking into it. That's why we asked for the presidential tax returns, and that's why we invoke 6103F, the statute that lets us get it. So this is something that kind of goes to the heart of what we've been doing if the whistleblower complaint is true. Additionally, it just shows the importance of whistleblowers. Whistleblowers will inform the public, inform Congress that something's going on in the executive branch or any other department, that something is going on that's not right. And they can report it without fear of repercussions, without being fired, without being demoted, without being suspended. And that's why it's important to have this whistleblower protection. It's because it's necessary to get this information.